We have started evaluating the chronology using the review lecture. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at it using the secondary sources. So in your Google Docs, go and scroll down just a little bit, and you've got this graphic organizer right here. So again, our goal here is to be able to create a narrative that has some sort of cohesive flow. It tells a story while making an argument as well. So we can use now some of the information that we've gotten from our secondary sources, particularly the textbook, to give us a better sense of what story we want to be able to tell as well. Okay? So again, our goal is, while we tell the story, to be able to determine who is also at fault as well. Okay? So from the review lecture and from the reading, you should have a pretty good idea of who you are blaming so far. All right, so let's scroll down just a little bit, and you should have this graphic organizer in front of you. Okay, and in it are 4 different time periods. Okay, the one that everybody's going to have, this is the when the Soviet Union and the United States were allies during the Second World War. And then we've got a sequence of events that you can go ahead and discuss that is more or less either in chronological order or will tell the story in some sort of logical sequence here. So we've got a 3 different time periods that you are going to select from. And this is where your essay is going to deviate from everyone else's, because you may have a different interpretation than others. And so what we want to be able to do is to tap into the research that you've done from the textbook. So go ahead and open up your background research document, and it should look something like this. They are color coded, so you kind of get a sense of which time period is which. A good part of the work that you've done is the cooperation that the United States and the Soviet Union had done during the Second World War. So you've got a number of these topics, and hopefully also a number of notes as well that you have taken here. So those notes should help you in regards to what each one of these topics are. And each one of these will show in the end how the United States and the Soviet Union actually cooperated in the Second World War. Okay, so what you want to do in this first box right here is to talk about that. Provide a description about 1 to 2 sentences long that will highlight not all, but some of these events that shows that the United States and the Soviet Union are working closely together to end the Second World War. So take these ideas and now make a description of the time period. And this is for the second body paragraph. Okay. Now, the question is, after you do this, what about the other paragraphs? And so you need to have your own opinion on this. So as we move on to the second part, after you've completed, hopefully, this statement, here's a nice little opening sentence frame to try to figure this out here. You have to figure out your other topics. Okay. So hopefully you've gone through the review lecture. Okay? And in that review lecture, you're kind of a sense of like, all right, I'm leaning towards the United States and blame them for the Cold War, or the Soviet Union. Is up to you. So now you want to be able to select at least 3, if not 4 time periods. I have space for 3 here, but you can go ahead and select more if you would like, if you want to use more of the primary source documents. So what you're going to do is take a look at what you've thought initially, right? And so your lecture review, that's here. And from that decision, again, you can have any check marks wherever you would like. This is just a sample here, so you don't have to use this. But the idea here is that you're able to transfer these ideas to create topics. And so let's look at the one example. So let's say I want to blame the United States. So I'm going to say, for example, I'm going to look at the pre-war distrust that the United States had against communism and against the Soviet Union. Then I'm going to select what the United States did in intervening in the Greek Civil War. And then finally, the creation of NATO and the various defense treaties. So now I've got my 3 different time periods that I'm utilizing. Let me use another example. Let's say you blame the Soviet Union. You may look at their actions regarding the Marshall Plan, their actions in Czechoslovakia, and then finally, in blockading Berlin. You're going to take these 3 events, and in either one of these cases, now you want to go ahead and, now that you have these selected, whichever one they are, go back to your secondary source chronology, go ahead and look it up, and then write a sentence or 2 summary for each of these time periods. And each one of these will allow you to go ahead and to provide the backdrop, the context for your document analysis later on here. So if I've selected I'm blaming the Soviet Union, then I'm going to go ahead and go back to what I wrote about the Marshall Plan, put it in here, the Czechoslovakian crisis here, and then finally the Berlin blockade and eventual airlift here as well. Okay. Once you have these descriptions down, then what you can do is to start to decide, all right, I need evidence and primary source documents. So again, complete this part first. But once you're done, so if you need to pause the video here, please pause the video here. Okay. And once you've come back, what you want to be able to do is now apply documents, primary source documents. So which documents are you going to utilize for this narrative essay? And so what you're going to do is to go back to the various documents. And so this next part here, and go back to the document set. And if you want an easy way to do so, the primary source documents are linked right there. You can use the paper copy that I'm providing or these elements here, and then go and decide which documents will support the points that you are making for each one. And so again, this is going to be completely up to you. And so you could have, and a sample might look something like this here, where you have selected these documents, you've had the descriptions of various time periods, and then you selected a document. These are possibilities. Again, the document numbers, you could use this if you've selected these particular topics. Again, dependent on the topic that you have here, go and select those particular documents, and you're set up and ready to go to start your primary source analysis.